everybody, to the next episode of Chiefs Focus First and 10 on a very strange Sunday in the NFL. You're here with JP and Caleb. What's up, bro?
Doing all right, man. How are you doing?
I don't know. I'm just, trying to process all of this today. And
Yeah, it was an interesting one. I will tell you that. It was very, very, very interesting.
yeah,
See how everything unfolded.
yeah, it was. It honestly, it started out how I expected the game to play out. I did not expect what the end result was at all. I don't know, man. It was crazy. I mean, I'm not going to dwell on this because I've already had enough frustration from it today. But if anybody, I mean, national media even said it. Even the guys that were slamming us, saying that we were going to lose this game. Burrow said it himself. Look, if anybody didn't see the blatant calls and the missed calls, and when a call did go our way, all of a sudden it was offset, then you don't understand the game of football. It's that simple. It was more blatant than the 18 AFC Championship game.
That's saying something because that was pretty blatant.
Well,
You had incomplete passes that were considered complete passes. You had the ball that touched Julian Edelman's hands on the punt. Yeah, punt return.
Mm-hmm.
There was the offside, the warning, quote unquote, as our people said when we do our live streams. You'll see I'm doing air quotes. The offsides on D Ford. Chris Jones getting a rough in the passer penalty for hitting Tom Brady in the arm. I mean, it was just time after time after time. But what we just got to see were the Chiefs. I mean, it looked like they got robbed, but honestly, there's just really nothing they can do about it.
No, there's nothing they can do.
I feel like we're just kind of at the point where the team has to step up, and I'm not worried that they're not going to step up. I'm more concerned with, can the Chiefs win these games? Because
here's the thing, man.
The Chiefs are one in.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but how are they going to step up? How? Let me ask you. Tell me one team in the league today that could have beat them with the calls that came out. Give me one team in this league that scored 31 points that could have honestly beat them with the calls against our defense. I can't think of one.
Mm-hmm. Well, and what I mean by, sorry, what was your thing said you disagreed with me with? It was
what
you said I didn't state what you said. I didn't state something correct?
No, you said everything right. I just said, tell me one team that could have actually won that game with the way the calls were going. I mean, we scored 31 points, dude.
The way I look at it, and I think you were talking more specifically, like how do you expect them, what more they can do? I know with Tyrann Mathieu, he's going to make sure they change. They're going to figure out different things. We realize now, hey, we need to make sure we have an extra left tackle available if possible, because Orlando Brown had a calf injury, and then late Lucas Niang tore his Achilles patella on the tendon, like in the first drive of the game.
Yeah.
So there are multiple different things, and it's good we figured this out now, but it's kind of a slap in the face because like this team did not back down. Joe Thuney did excellent left tackle. Our writer Charles came on our space and said, yeah, he played that at NC State. He's played left tackle before.
Yeah.
So we're good from that standpoint if we need to. But it looks like this team really put everything it had to it. Tyrann Mathieu, the defense. But the thing is, though, they didn't play the best that they could do, if we're being honest, when the defensive standpoint. Did they get a lot of sacks? Yes. But one thing that crept back into the game that they have struggled with for some reason those first 8 weeks of the season was tackling. Also, Spags, man. I like the brother. I love him. I know he can do a lot of different things, man, but he has proven to us he does not want to change up his scheme. And I believe that really costed the Chiefs. They had a really good chance to win. It makes no sense to me. How are you going to not? Why are you doing an all-out blitz on 3rd and 27? All you have to do is make sure they don't get about 20 yards on the plane. They're going to punt.
Here's the thing.
But it allowed time for Burrow to go back and throw the ball. and then next thing you know, they got it a first down. It's like that's defeating for a defense. But one thing I would say is the defense did not give up. Chris Jones, Melvin Ingram, Tyrann Matthew, they were still in there battling and battling and battling, even when those things were happening. And they almost got a fourth down stop. But all of a sudden, there was a holding call. I don't think they even showed the replay to begin with, too. So there were a lot of different things that happened in this game. But I will commend this team because they did not give up. I put this loss on the rest somewhat, but I'm also going to put it on I would also put it on our coaching staff.
Yeah.
Andy Reid, I feel like they got a little bit more conservative. We need to bury these teams. I'm also going to put on Steve Spagnuolo. I know some people don't agree with me, but Tony Romo and them love to say, oh, Spagnuolo's defense is doing great. But whenever players do good, they don't like to bring up Spagnuolo. They like to say the players aren't doing well. And that's something I've seen for a while now. And it's also like it doesn't matter who we watch the NFL games with. They do not like the Chiefs. So I'm proposing, and Clark, if you hear me, please do. You guys have the money and everything now. Please have it to where Chiefs fans in Kansas City have an option to have Mitchell Schwartz be our announcer when we listen to games, not on radio, but for TV. It would go a long way for Chiefs fans because we're tired of hearing the constant ridicule and disrespect of the team, the Chiefs, where I feel like I have to mute my TV in order to get through the game when I'm hearing stuff that these guys do not know what they're talking about.
You know, as far as the refs were concerned today, I am going to say a few things because I'm not going to let this go. All right, first of all, and I will put this on, let me go backwards. When you leave, for the fans out there that said Ward played like trash, you're wrong. He played against a top wide receiver that already has, I think, 20 touchdowns in the league as rookie year, 18 somewhere around there. I think after today he's got 20, but he played very well against somebody that was left out there by himself, and that's on Spags. Okay, he should have had a safety out there helping him. But look, man, the first touchdown that Chase scored, he pushed off. First he was a handy with Ward halfway down the field, and then he pushed off of him to catch the football. Everybody saw it. That was the first one. That should have been negated the play. That started it. That from that play on, I knew that. I thought, okay, this is not going to go well for us. And that's kind of why I was silent on both Instagram and Twitter, because I was getting a little frustrated. Then there were multiple plays after this, really after about midway through the second quarter, when we were up and all of a sudden the flag started flying. The one on Snead for roughing or intentional, whatever it was.
They call unnecessary roughness.
Unnecessary roughness. Look, he was still in the field of play. He didn't have his hand wrapped around him. He wasn't holding him by the back when the guy went down. He pushed the guy down. So what? If that
was it necessary though? Because it looked like he could have, from my perspective, he could have pushed out of bounds, but looked like out of frustration, he was like, forget it, and then threw him, tried to hurt him.
Well, yeah,
which I had no problem with because they were doing that to our players.
That's what I'm saying.
They were trying to act all big and bad too.
Exactly. How many times do we see that weekly, daily? With the NFL, and it's never called. It was called against us. That was a bullshit call. In reality, that call should have never been called. It wasn't unnecessary roughness. He didn't pull him down. He didn't horse collar him. He shoved him to the ground. So what? Mahomes has been shoved into a bench and they never called it. And he's a quarterback. He was okay. And he was out of bounds when that happened and they never called it. He had 1 foot out of bounds when I remember that play, and he was shoved into a bench. So for them to sit there and I missed about the first 6 minutes of the game. They had some technical issues with NFL ticket, but regardless, it went on and on. There was multiple calls in the third and fourth quarter that should have never been called. And
it extended drives, and that was the problem. Our defense would get him in a spot, and then be like, "Oh, third down, pass interference." You're like, "Whoa, what pass interference?"
That pass interference in the end zone was absolute dog crap.
It was kind of like, hello there."
His hand brushed him. He didn't put his arm around him. His hand brushed the center of his chest like he was going to knock the ball, and he was facing the ball. Okay, I don't know, man. I mean, it was so obvious what was going on.
No, it was obvious,
and it was one after another. If it would have been one or two, okay, But dude, we had 10 penalties today, and in reality, probably 3 of those were legitimate, maybe 4. 10 penalties. Joe Burrow was offsides. I mean, Fall started the play and they called it on Clark. I mean, on Jones.
Yep.
Okay.
They did a lot of, and that's another thing, man. It was just kind of like, look, they're able. It was like watching these 2 games in my memories as a Chiefs fan that were just very hurtful when they lost. The Thursday night football game against the Raiders, where they should have won that game. The Raiders came back, and then everyone was like, "Oh, the Raiders won! The Raiders won!" Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
And then the Monday night game that everyone loves to talk about, the Chiefs versus the Rams, where all those bad calls were coming up that night.
Yeah.
And it's like there was documentation proof that you had guys false starting at half a second before the play, but the rest don't see it. And I'm kind of like,
how did they not
hello
see
there. Can you guys see? Do you have glasses? I mean, do you need latex surgery to help you see? Because what we saw was just like, that game reminded me of it. They were so ticky-tack with the Chiefs, but when it came to the Bengals, they were like, oh, no. And then the Bengals fans were like, what do you mean that's a penalty? I'm just like.
Well, I actually had one normal Bengals fan that on my personal page he actually admitted it. But when Joe Burrow admitted it 3 times in the postgame interview, but you got other people that are saying, oh, well, the Chiefs beat themselves.
Nah, they didn't beat themselves.
Now, look.
Well, technically, I would say, yeah, you lost because you beat yourself because you weren't aggressive on offense and the defense.
How could they get aggressive, though?
Well, and how do I say this? There's a play in the game that reminded me. Darrell Williams had 2 crucial back-to-back bruiser ones. They got first down, and the other run got 8 yards. Was it necessary to run with Gore again when you could have probably done a quick pass to McCall in the flat?
Well,
or maybe a play
not,
action.
But in the same aspect,
I feel like that play possibly could have changed the game. But when it comes to the defense, it's like I'm pointing to that area again, though. Spags did not make adjustments, and I feel like that hurt us.
I don't even think
you have to. But I hear you, man, but you have to make adjustments. And it seems like Spags didn't really want to make adjustments. It seems like he's kind of doing the Bob Sutton. And then what kind of confused me is, why is Dirty Dan still out there in the safety position? He's a rover.
He wasn't hurt. Or Thornhill wasn't hurt. So
yeah, so that makes no sense to me. Thornhill would have probably done some stuff. But it's like, hello, Thornhill. And you know it's bad when Shannon Sharp's calling you out. And that's kind of embarrassing. I feel I'd be embarrassed. If I was Spags, I'd be embarrassed because I continue not want to do what I think that's going to help this team win. Now, granted, you brought something up in Spaces, JP. What was that about the safety over the top?
Oh, I think everybody said, well, if they would have put a safety over the top with Ward, that would have helped. My opinion, and I think they may have thought the same thing, is that the way the calls were going, you put a guy out there, another guy, you're doubling your chances of another flag being thrown. That's basically what you're doing. Because they were just throwing flags left and right. They looked for reasons. I mean, they were begging to throw a flag. Half of those guys, I swear, they must have had the flag in their hand before the play was started.
I will tell you right now, it was interesting to hear. I didn't get to see the press conference, but I got to see the tweet that it was stated, and I think we got from Harold Kuntz. But it said, I don't want to get fined. Andy said that. And I love Andy. The one thing that kind of frustrates me when it comes to bad calls to the Chiefs, and this is probably not the best thing for them to do, but why can't our coaches get up in the ref's face?
They do. Andy got up in 2 of them.
We're not seeing it all, so I can't 100%.
Well, Andy
but
can't get too crazy right now either, but he did today.
Yeah, you can't get too crazy, but there's an extent, I feel like, there should be something to where the head coach should be able to question the referees and get in their face. Not get in their face, but you know what I'm saying? Like, demand an explanation.
Well,
because
he did, but that's not going to get
like,
you anywhere.
If I was the coach, I'm not just going to sit back and take it. I'm going to tell you a thing or two and be like, you need to figure it out.
Well,
I don't care if you give me a text when it comes to football. Yeah, but sometimes you got to show that fire, and maybe that might pop off. Tyrann Mathieu get even more mad and they get a fumble. I know. I see what you're saying, man. It's just I kind of felt like maybe they could have done a little bit more, maybe Andy, but I didn't see none from Spags. But the thing is, they don't show us everything. So from what I'm seeing from that standpoint, I just kind of maybe want to see a little bit more fight out of them. But we did see Andy kind of go after them for a little bit. So I mean, there's really nothing you can do sometimes. I just kind of want to see, okay, let's push through, but let's let these refs know I'm here. You're not going to do this on my watch. I would feel like, because everyone wants to say Andy's a great coach, and I agree, but you would think with great coaches, they would get respect. But it's the NFL, man. No one has gotten respect when it comes to officiating crew. And what I personally believe should happen is that officials deserve to be in press conferences just like the players, and they should be fined just like the players, because you can't continue to do stuff over and over and over and over and over again without getting some criticism. Coaches and players should not be, but JP, coaches and players should not be fined for criticizing officials. I see people all the time going to grocery stores and complaining about grocery store people who making less money, and they can do that for free. So you tell me someone because they make more money can't? I just think that there should be something has to change in that aspect, because the officiating is just too inconsistent.
Well, here's a comical one for you. Looks like we have a late substitution at the referee position in Cincinnati. Ron Torbert is in for John Hussey. This is the first unscheduled white hat substitution of the season. That's not true. There was more than him actually substituted today. It was a completely mixed bag of referees. Okay, so, and it's probably because of COVID, but here's the thing. That's what I'm going to try to keep this PG. Why do we have a New York office? Why do we have people?
Well, they're not doing anything. They're not doing anything.
I actually made a call today after that game, and I'm waiting for a call back because I'm sure he knew I was calling him. But
yeah,
I guarantee he's probably
trying to sell some Super Bowl tickets in a booth too.
Yeah, no shit. I think he probably didn't want to hear it, but he'd probably wait.
No, JP. They are working in the public. They have to hear what people got to say.
Well, this is a side guy. I mean, this is somebody that probably, he probably just didn't want to hear what he knew that he would hear it from me loud, and he was probably waiting for me to calm down before he calls. But I'll tell you what, we have a New York office for they took everything away. It seems like every time they put something in place, whether it be, I understand taking some of these the replays away from the coaching staff, being able to challenge everything. But when you take it away, you're leaving everything in the hands of people that are fans as well. And if you have a New York office to review these plays, then review the plays. Don't sit there especially when they're blatant. If it's a close call, then okay. But when they're blatant and you can see it, don't sit there. Don't ignore it. And that's what I was going to tell my buddy up there. Don't ignore this shit. I mean, if they're going to continue to ignore the obvious, then why don't we just start watching WWE again? I mean, it's the same bullshit. I mean, no matter how you look at it, it's like watching a wrestling match. Because if they're setting it up for ratings, or if they're setting it up for big play games, then have the right people in there that at least know how to fake it. These guys weren't even good at that. They couldn't even fake a bad call. It just sucked.
And I'm just kind of at the point where it's like, I'm just at the point where if we're going to hold these players and coaches to a higher standard and they're part of the NFL, then the officials need to be brought to that same standard.
Yeah.
And they need to have press conferences as well. Yeah. They have to. If you're making that, if you're in the NFL, you need to be in them conferences as well, because calls that refs have made have changed the game. Now, granted, shouldn't the Chiefs probably handle business a little bit more? Yeah. But there's nothing you can do about that now. There's nothing you can do.
Dude, it was 31 points. I mean, for Christ's sake.
But JP scored 3 points in the second half.
Okay, but dude, we didn't have the ball 89% of the time because of the
I know, penalties. But I'm just saying you gotta figure something out. You gotta figure something out. That's why I feel like kind of the play calls, they were good, but they could have been changed. Okay, now, granted, Andy could have possibly also tried to have it to where we're not gonna show everything, which I think I can see that possibly. But like this game, man, if we would have won that and just went. I mean, it doesn't really matter at this point because we're
kind of surprised it was shown, to be honest with you. I'm actually, the way they have been doing it over the last, especially CBS, the way they had done it over the last, I don't know, maybe 5 weeks, they stopped showing plays.
Yeah,
They
they
stopped showing the
have.
penalties.
They
I'm
have
really
started to do that.
surprised this was shown today. It really is. That's going to light a fire under a lot of people's asses. And I know Andy's not happy. I know Brett's
Oh,
not happy.
well, I know one thing. This is why I believe in the Chiefs. I know Andy and Brett Beach and Price Spags are going to go in there to Monday because they lost. They're not getting the day off. And they're going to fix what happened and they're going to figure out how to win. I guarantee you, man, every team the Chiefs have lost to so far this season, I know if they ran it back, they would beat them. They would beat them.
Yeah.
We would come back. We would beat the Chargers. We will
defense-
beat the Bills. We will beat the Titans. And they can most definitely beat the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah.
That was their Super Bowl.
You know
because
what
the
happened?
Bengals for the last few years have been irrelevant. I mean,
You know what
I like
happened,
Joe
dude?
Burrow. I've loved watching him at LSU. But from what we're seeing, man, is like even when he says something, they acting like they won the doggone Super Bowl. But
Well,
I mean, it
here's
is
the
what
thing.
it is.
Here's what happened, and I'm just going to say it because it's the truth. Look, man, they wanted ratings. They wanted a big game because everybody's hyped it up all week long about Joe Burrow against Patrick Mahomes. And when we were up 21-7, I guarantee you, I have no doubt in my mind now that this was somewhat set up. This was somewhat like, okay, wait a minute. If the Chiefs are going to come in here and blow this team out, then it's not good. It's not good TV. It's not good ratings. It's not good this. It's not good that. We expected to put on a show and it'd be a close game. It's been the game of the week. It's been the game of this. Look, our defense didn't change from the first quarter to the second quarter to the third quarter to the fourth quarter. We still played the same guys. We still played the same packages. The difference is that when we were kicking the shit out of them, all of a sudden these flags started flying. No matter what you do, and the only other option they would have had in the second half of this game was to run the ball constantly, one after another. They would have had to pull a New England Patriots and run the ball 32 times straight. And look, you know what would have happened? They would have put every other call would have been a holding call on our offensive line. So they knew this. So they figured, what was the point in going and changing up your scheme to just end up with the same result?
I just feel like
try?
There could have. I agree with you. I just feel like they should at least try their steps that could have been done to prevent this. But regardless, it's neither here nor there. The Chiefs lost. They have to look forward now. They won the division. We have the 2 seed. They have to play the Broncos next. What do you mean? Oh, yeah. We have the 2 seed, and we have to play the Broncos next week. Yeah. Our hope is that if we can beat the Broncos, and if the Titans lose to the Texans, the Chiefs would go ahead and reclaim the 1 seed. I mean, that's asking for a lot. Now, someone brought something up very interesting. I haven't thought about this before. It'd be interesting if Mahomes had to go to 3 straight road games to go to the Super Bowl. That would cement his legacy even more. Yeah. I mean, nothing would surprise me, but kind of looking at how it's going to come down to, if the Chiefs end up getting the 2 seed, the Chargers and the Raiders are battling out next week. Whoever wins that most likely will get the 7th seed. That's going to be a hard game for us if it's going to be against the Chargers right now. I'm telling you right now. That's going to be a difficult game. First game against a team you lost to, then you came back and beat in dramatic fashion. I mean, that game is going to be tough. So there's many different implications that are coming forward towards now. The one thing I'm hoping that will happen is that our guys are healthy, everyone will come back, and we will have the ability to go through the AFC, win these games, shut everybody up, go to the Super Bowl and win. But we got to take it week by week. And at this point, man, I'm hoping they can do it, but it's just very frustrating to see what we saw at the end of the day. Very frustrating.
It was sickening. I mean, it made me physically ill to watch. And I even posted it. If every play, it seemed like every penalty, I posted it on Twitter, and it was like, I don't think honestly, there's no possibility that this wasn't seen or wasn't, I've seen a lot of times that a flag gets thrown and then other officials come in, they talk about it, they pick the flag up and they say there was no penalty on the call. That could have happened 5 times tonight, but it didn't, or today. It didn't happen. They just ran with it like it was supposed to be. That's exactly how it played out, and it didn't. But regardless, it is what it is. They wanted to show. They got the show. When your own quarterback of your team admits, now, of course, he didn't admit what went on in the third quarter. He didn't admit went on, 80% through the second quarter, but he admitted that, oh yeah, I got a few lucky calls and they went our way, and you need luck sometimes against a team.
And that happens. I mean, I'll be honest with you, the Chiefs have gotten some favorable calls. I mean, sometimes, but there have been some times where it's kind of like,
yeah, but it's never been 10 in a row.
I mean, you would think I get hit in the face mask, you penalty, but that's neither here, man. What was some takeaways you took from this game? Like positive takeaways, this and you see with the Chiefs moving forward.
Our offense. Well, here's the things that I seen. Number one, and I mentioned this on Spaces. I believe that Darrell Williams, if we don't go to a running back by committee, which I think we should, and I've actually mentioned that to a couple of guys that I know within with the team. But if they go to a running back by committee situation, I think Darrell Williams needs to get the start.
I agree. He does deserve the spot.
Guy's averaging 6.8 yards a carry. Tonight he was a beast, or today when he got the ball, he got 146 yards rushing. And look, in our defensive line held up. Look what they did. They held Mixon to 68 yards or 50.
Yeah, we've done a pretty good job when Christian was in there. We do a pretty good job of stopping the run for the most part. Exactly. Now, passing game, and when we can't miss many open field tackles, that's the different story. We start beating ourselves.
That's going to happen. And
look, that's going to happen. But
there was 5 missed tackles in this game, though.
Well, there was probably, excuse me, there was 3 on one of those touchdown drives where we could have stopped him on 2 different times. But
the guys got during series. There was 5 missed tackles in series. So if you look at it, like I'm talking about per player. So if you take it from that perspective, they only missed 5 tackles on. I guess let me put it.
It seemed like there was a couple tackles per series they did not seem to execute fully and get.
Well, maybe that, but
and at least one of them was crucial to moving the drive.
It was a total of 5 series total that they had a missed tackle on, or maybe multiple missed tackles. Like they missed them. Maybe 2 guys missed, but my point being is that it's not like everybody missed on every tackle. Hitchens didn't play very well tonight, in my opinion, but that's okay, because here's what I took. I see that, one, our offense is back. We're scoring 30 points a game again, if not more. I think we're averaging like 36, after the 2 Raider games, and then we're averaging somewhere between 33 and 36 points a game. That's our offense. We're back. If they're missing one of their tackles, they can still play. I don't know if Mahomes didn't get sacked today.
He didn't.
So
he didn't.
That's another positive.
That is a positive.
He wasn't running for his life a lot. There's a couple times he ran, but not a tremendous amount. Hey, Josh Gordon stepped up, made a nice catch. There's another positive. He was in the game. He played. I don't know what's going on. Well, I do know what's going on with Tyreek, but that pass was tough to catch. People can say a lot of things. He's a smaller guy. He jumped up in the air. He caught it off of his helmet. And as he was trying to get control of it, the guy just got in there and knocked it out of his hand. He basically separated the ball between his helmet and one hand as he's falling backwards.
One thing I saw is like, you got to catch with your hands. You can't catch with your body.
Well, he caught with his face. Though.
Yeah, you can't do that. And it seemed like
it was.
He tried to get in and bounce off. When it bounced off the shorter patch, you may not be able to get in. Tyreek seems to do a lot of catching with his body, but he's excellent with his hands. But I feel like 9 times out of 10 he's going to catch that, maybe 8.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not really concerned.
He's had a rough year with a few drop passes, and somebody asked, and then for anybody that asked that question, it's hard to go back. Okay, when you're used to a certain way of playing, and then that gets taken away from you for through your off season, and then 7 weeks into your season, and then all of a sudden you want to turn it around and go backwards. Then it's hard to go backwards sometimes. We saw Kelsey drop a few passes, in the
that's true
prior week. So everybody was all over Hardman about this, but everybody on this team has dropped passes. So I don't want to hear that it was just Hardman or it was just D-Rob or it was just this. Pringle has stepped up and done a hell of a job. He's proven himself. That's another great takeaway. 2 weeks in a row, he's done great. Actually, a lot more than that, but 2 weeks straight, he's done phenomenal. Mahomes, again, he had a couple of off passes, but for the most part, he's played lights out. I mean, he's back to his old self again, and he always had a few missed passes, but I mean, his passer rating went from, I think he's somewhere around 102 right now. He was last week he was 129 or 135. So his numbers were really high last week, and they've been climbing, as he got more used to his offensive line and other things changed when Andy started calling those plays and he was able to play his game the way he knows how to play it. So I see a lot of uptake, but if they got to allow us to play the game. They're not allowing defenses to play. I'm sorry,
and
they're just not.
That's one thing I'd say. Your defenses are handcuffed. Basically, there's
Yeah.
things they can't do. It's kind of like you got to let them play defense somewhat in the day. But one takeaway I would take from that game is that the defense, regardless of what happened, they were ready to play every single snap.
Yeah.
As the more likely as it was, Chris Jones and all of them were out there. Even though they weren't playing their greatest game, they were out there continuing the battle. So I give that to them because a lot of teams you would think fold, and we almost stopped them twice. 2 times we had that 1 4th down. We thought we had the ball. Got him stopped. Phantom holding call. We didn't even see the replay. So I don't even know how that worked out.
That. God forbid, there was no way they were going to show that one after the bullshit that they had to. I mean, the NFL officiating got probably about 60,000 different.
I saw the tweets. I'm pretty sure they got lambasted.
Oh, I guarantee it.
Because people are tired of seeing it, man. Like,
I wouldn't doubt if Cincinnati fans weren't calling up and saying, "Hey, that was a bullshit call." He, any sensible person would say something like that. But it is what it is. I did have one, as I said, one Cincinnati fan that saw it and he admitted it. There was one. I guess what I missed at the beginning. Andy challenged a call.
So what happened was they 3rd down, Burrow threw a pass to Chase, and he was short by like half a yard. But they called him for progress and gave the 1st down to him. And then Andy threw the challenge flag, and they were like, okay, well, he obviously was short.
Yeah.
So the inconsistency with the officiating started from that point on because they obviously could not see where the ball was stopped and different things like that.
Yeah, they're horrid.
And you didn't I forgot you didn't get to see that, but that's a precursor to what we had to deal with. The Chiefs had to deal with during this time.
Yeah, that was probably. I really have to say that was the worst officiating crew I've ever seen. And I thought there was one other crew that has been pretty bad, consistently bad for a couple of years, but that one there took the cake for me. I mean, that was, and I don't know why. If they knew they had substitutes, why wouldn't New York step in and say, hey, look, relook at that call, huddle up, pull the flag off the field and move forward? Because there was so many of them that were so inconsistent. I mean, and just blatantly inconsistent calls, but it is what it is. I mean, Tyrann Mathieu, I got to say, I got to give it to that man. He is remarkably calm on Twitter right now.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
I have to give it to him all the respect in the world, because when he put out, well, we got more work to do, I said, you got robbed. That's flat and simple. You got robbed. I said, just keep doing you. And I mean, everybody said this. I mean, they basically agreed with me. It got a lot of likes because they saw it. I even had Patriots fans that hit me up and saying the same thing. Okay. I mean, Patriots fans do not like us, but this guy was a Patriots fan. He likes Joe Burrow.
Well, I think all the bandwagons went to Tampa Bay.
Yeah, they did. And Tampa Bay, we got to talk about that a little bit here in a few minutes, but I don't know, man. I mean, I hope this isn't a precursor to the rest of this season for us. That's what I'm hoping.
I will tell you one thing, and one thing I really believe Andy will have them ready. Spags will hopefully.
No, I'm talking about the refs. I'm not talking about us.
I mean, man, there are going to be some bad calls.
I just hope it's not like that game. I just hope it's not.
No, I agree.
I just hope it's not like this, because this was absolutely unfair.
But that's life is, man. I mean, there's a lot of different things.
Oh, believe me, I know. But that was completely lopsided. That's the one thing that, is consistent with what we do as far as a brand and a business and in life, because we enjoy the game of football. We enjoy sports. We understand it. And that's our outlet. This is our outlet. Sports is our outlet. When you have a tough day, you have a tough week, whatever the case is, you're sick, whatever, this is your outlet to get away from whatever else is bothering you. And when it just goes that way, it's like, my God, man, how is this possible? But you know, I don't want to dwell on it anymore because it's frustrating enough and my chest hurts. So I just want to move forward and get away from this game and move on. We're going to hear all the talking heads that said they were right, which they weren't. And
Man, I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna turn on I'm gonna turn on Undisputed to listen to Shannon Sharp talk about Antonio Brown. The second they try to talk about the Chiefs, I'm turning it off because I don't want to hear Skip Bayless' voice. I don't
yeah,
want to hear anything from Good Morning Football. I don't want to hear nothing from them. Locked in, loaded, ready for the playoffs, and
yeah.
just wait for the game next week, and then pushing towards the playoffs because it's just I don't even know what to say.
Well, now, I mean, I don't know what, and Tony Romo, you know what? Normally I like him, and I've got to say, I've liked him for the most part, but today he pissed me off. He was just, he was all over the place. He was agreeing with the refs, which pissed me off. Then he said the Titans had it locked up, which they don't. If the Titans lose next week and we win, we're back in the first seed again.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what the hell he was up his ass today, but he was talking a lot of shit and it made no sense. A lot of it made no sense. I mean, he was like a child out there. I don't know, but it irritated me. But regardless, we got now, next week we got to play our starters.
Yeah, you gotta play them. You got, in regardless, if they would have won the game, they had to play.
Yeah.
So this is what you do. You've beaten the Broncos twice. Let's go in and beat them a third time. Let's bury them. Let's bury them early. Let's go in and win this game. No injuries. Let's be somewhat conservative, but let's have a win. And then let's hope and pray that the Texans can go ahead and win the game against the Titans. If we do that, we get the first seed. That's an extra week of everyone resting. But if they don't, and the Chiefs win, hey, we playing on wild card weekend, baby. I mean, here we go. I mean, there's really no we can do.
On the road. I mean, we do.
Well, no, we get a home game.
We get a home game.
The first
home game. Yeah, the first one will be a home game.
Mm-hmm.
But we play good on the road. We've been consistently very good on the road. And in fact, I think at one point our record was better on the road than what is at home. But and we scored a lot. We score really well on the road. I've noticed that we score tremendously well on the road. Our defense seems to play a lot better on the road for the most part, with the exception of these last few games where our team has just lit people up at Arrowhead. 30-point wins and things of that nature. So it's going to be an interesting ride for the next few weeks. I'll put it that way.
And I don't expect it getting any easier. The farther the Chiefs advance when we get to the playoffs, the harder it will be difficult when it comes to the media.
Yeah, without fail. It's just going to be one of those things to where the media is going to talk. It was kind of crazy today because I did see a couple of national media guys say, did I just see that call? Did that just actually happen? Did they actually call that? And these are guys that were actually saying the Chiefs were, they were going to lose. And they actually said they couldn't believe what was going on. There was a couple of national media guys that said that.
Do you remember the names?
I don't right now. I mean, I was just flipping through Twitter, pissed off, and I just saw the check mark. And one of them is
I know Fox. A lot of the local people.
Yeah, one of them was with Fox.
One from the Athletic.
One from the Athletic.
Talking, and then I didn't see anyone.
There was a Fox guy that was talking, and I can't remember. I know he was with Fox, but I can't remember who he was right now. But regardless, it is what it is. Looking forward. Oh, by the way, from what I heard, as far right now, what they're saying is that as far as Brown is concerned, they're probably going to rest him next week. But it's not a horrible strain, and he should be ready for the playoffs. So that's a good thing. We didn't lose anybody today.
No one got seriously injured.
Burrow didn't look good today when
he got beat up, and before he was limping, he's gonna feel that. And I feel like whenever the Chiefs play them again, it's gonna be a different game.
I have a strange feeling that I don't know, man. They may be another Ravens team from a couple of years ago that are one and done in the playoffs. I mean, they might be. You just don't know. It's a different season.
If the Titans win, then they are that team. If the Titans win, I think they are that one and done team.
Yeah. So it just depends on who they end up playing. But I still feel like there's teams out there that have been in the playoffs, that are back in the playoffs, and I feel like these guys aren't prepared for that. Burrow's not prepared for it. I don't think any of them are really prepared for it. Now, I will say this. Uh, I can't think of their coach's name right now. It's slipping my mind. He had a good game plan. One mistake, I
Zach
think,
Taylor.
Zach
Mhm.
Taylor. The one thing I think, was brought up on it was a good question, hypothetical, but would it have been a good idea to, with our defense as great as they did, phenomenal in the goal line stance? I mean, that tells you how good our defense actually is. But they held them to the 1 inch line basically 3 times in a row. So would you have rather let them punch it in and give Mahomes 2 minutes to march down the field and tie the score or tie the game? Or would you have rather done what Andy did and let them continue on? I
I would
don't
have
know.
wanted them to score and
I would
hopefully
have too,
Mahomes.
but in a normal situation, yeah. But I think they might have thought in their minds, look, what if we get in that position and we're back on the field and we're running down the field again? What what flag's going to come out next? And that could have been, they were going for it at the end of the half with 13 seconds left. Mahomes is out there throwing bombs to Tyreek. So, and still all the way down to the clock running out, they were trying to score. So, it wasn't a fact that Andy wasn't trying to keep it going. It was just, he probably knew the same thing that a lot of people were thinking is, what are you going to do against something like this? I saw him, and I'm glad he calmed himself down because he doesn't need to get all stressed out like that right now. But he got sideways with a couple of refs, and I don't blame him. I mean, I'd have been throwing fits. There was a call on, I think it was a missed call, I should say, on Pringle, where they grabbed his face mask and yanked his head sideways. One of Mahomes got he got his head twisted around pretty good on a face mask at one point. The only time they really got to him a little bit, it wasn't a sack, but it was where they knocked him down. And it was, again, another no call. But it just seemed like everybody was in sync. I mean, everybody was playing, for the most part, playing the right way. Now, whether I don't know why Thornhill wasn't in the game. I'm going to find out, though, why he wasn't playing the position that he normally plays, or he has been, that's made us successful. Part of what's made that defense successful. I don't know why they had Dirty Dan out there again in the wrong position.
JP, that's my other thing. Why is Spags resorting back to that? Why?
I don't know why he reverted back. I have no
Why?
clue.
Are we trying to win a Super Bowl here? I mean, seriously,
Yeah,
you
I
can't
don't
lose.
know.
Maybe I guess in this grand scheme of things, this game doesn't mean anything. But that makes me question his defensive philosophy if he's going to continue to revert back to Dan when we know he does not need to play that position. He is a, repeat after me, JP, 1, 2,
Yeah,
3, a rover.
yeah,
A rover. He
yeah.
is. It just makes no sense to me. It
I don't
makes
know
no
why
sense.
they, and on that 3rd and 27, all out blitz. In my opinion, they should have probably did a,
You
like an
didn't
A
need to
gap
blitz all of
blitz.
them. You kept a couple guys
No, you could have
back.
done an A gap
That's
or a double A gap, and then kept your guys back there to keep, keep it, keep it protected and solid if you want, keep it legitimate. But they didn't do that. And I know why. Look, when you're playing a rookie quarterback, or somewhat of a rookie quarterback, you might as well say he is. A lot of times that rattles him, and he has been rattled a lot when he gets pressured. So maybe that was his mindset. I don't know. It has worked for us with seasoned quarterbacks over the last 7 weeks. So why wouldn't it work with him? And I guess that's what they were thinking. I don't know. But blitzing on 3rd down is not a big deal. We blitz on 3rd down almost every play. But an all-out blitz in that situation, when you got Chase out there the way he is, and I got to say he's phenomenal.
He is phenomenal.
He's a great player. He was gifted a lot today. I'm going to say that he was gifted a whole lot. From the first touchdown, he was gifted that, and he was handsy as hell. I don't know why they didn't call offensive pass interference on him a couple of times, but they decided not to do it. I don't know why. It is, well, I do know why, but it is what it is. There was a crazy incident today. We could just might as well get off that subject for now. Beating a dead horse. AB took his pads off on the field, threw them up into the stands, and left.
Yeah.
And he got into an Uber and then video streamed it on Instagram. He's done in the NFL. He'll never play again. If any team picks him up, they're insane. He's off his meds. That's obvious. There's no possibility he's still on his medication or he slipped a few days. But he's done in the NFL. Bruce Arians cut him immediately. And I don't know if Brady threw him out of the house or not, but if he's still living there, that's on Brady. But I tell you what, think about it, man. You got no Godwin, you got no AB. Now you're down to Mike Evans, Scotty Miller, and Gronk. When you really look at it, those are your three top receivers.
Well, we'll see if Brady's a GOAT. We will see what he can do with this this receiving core.
Well, unless they go and sign somebody immediately, which they somehow shit money. I've never seen a place that can just pop out money. I mean, they must have 40 trees.
It must be Brady doing something with the salary cap. I don't know.
I don't know either, but man, they pop out more money and more than any team I've seen besides the Rams. But unless they go and sign somebody really quick to fill his position, because we've seen what happened to Brady when he doesn't have him against a bad football team. So, when we were missing our 2-star receivers that everybody said Mahomes couldn't win with that, we won.
He won a game.
Hardcore. It wasn't just barely won. They whipped the shit out of the Pittsburgh Steelers without those guys. So, it would have been a 10-point actually, it would have been a, what would that have been? I guess a 3-point game if it wouldn't have been for that trash touchdown. But we handed it to him. I mean, without Tyreek, I think played 14% of the snaps or something in that Pittsburgh game, and there was no Kelsey. You had Pringle, you had Hardman, Darrell Williams, our fullback that was killing it. And by the way, I love this fullback. This guy's a beast, dude. He don't care. He'll get up in your face. He laid a dude out on special teams today, and I was like, hell yeah. I mean, he put that dude on his back. And I'm like, yeah, that's how you hit somebody. And it was full steam ahead, man. And that guy wasn't little. The guy he hit was not little. He put him down, though.
He did.
I'm pretty proud of him on that part of it. I like that kid. I like him. I like him better than I think I do Anthony Sherman. And not because of Anthony Sherman's bullshit, but he's just a better player.
More versatile.
He is more versatile. He's got a lot of strength. And Mahomes, again, with his, what do you have, a 30, was that 27 yards he ran for today straight? That one run where he had a really long run. We got the first down.
Gore.
The middle. No, it was Mahomes when he ran up the middle.
Oh, yeah. Mahomes had like a 20-yard run, yeah.
Yeah, it was a big run. And, it just proves that he's back. Proves that he is doing what he's supposed to be doing. And playing his game the way he knows how to play it.
Exactly.
And look, you know what? Give us a 90% honest referee crew. I don't know a team that can stop us. Give us 90% of an honest game. I don't know a team out there that can stop us through the playoffs. I really don't. Our defense has been lights out. The points we're giving up today, take minimum of 2 of those touchdowns back. Okay, they should have never happened. Period. They shouldn't have happened. The call, the holding call that they said was, I don't know how that was really called. It was ticky-tack as hell on Pringle's return, his touchdown or his punt return for a touchdown. I don't know how they called that a holding, but they did. It was very ticky-tack in my opinion, but they called it because they didn't want him to have it. It is what it is. I mean, that was a terrible call as well. I forgot about that one. Somebody said, well, you can't hold. I mean, that wasn't a hold. That was barely anything. He had his hand on him for a 10th of a second and pulled his hand away. It wasn't a hold. The guy fell down. So, I mean, it's amazing that the guy just completely fell down. So I don't know. It was pretty insane to me that went on. But AB, man, what are we going to do? What do you think's going to happen with him, bro?
I think he's dealing with injury or something because he's just not acting the same. They got to get him help. Something's going to have to happen because that wasn't normal.
No,
that wasn't normal.
To me, I think he needs to get some professional help. He really does. There's something that's not right about him. He's completely off he's off.
He has some problems.
He does. He's off his rocker. I don't understand why he would do that in the middle of the season. I really don't. After what he was so lucky to be gifted, and that's now the Raiders, New England, and the Bucks that he has walked off on in some aspect or another. He's done something insane.
He's quit on them.
He's quit on them. They didn't quit on him. He's quit on them. It's the other way around. And he's been lucky. He played an entire season with them and went and won a Super Bowl ring. And look what he does. I mean,
I don't know, man.
Pretty crazy, man. I'm blown out of the water. And he looked like when he was in that Uber, which I'm hoping that was an Uber and not a Lyft, because if it was a Lyft, they're in deep shit. But he was laughing and giggling like it was hilarious. He thought it was the funniest thing ever that he did what he did.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's trying to build.
When I saw that, I was like, "What do you mean he's ran across the field?" And I'm like, "Okay, well, that's what he wants to do. That's what he's going to do. It's on him at the end of the day."
Insane.
I don't see him another chance from any other team.
I don't either. I don't know anybody would ever take a chance on him like that. You'd be out of your mind to bring him on a football team right now. I mean, he needs to go get help. He really needs a lot of help. They all talked about Josh Gordon because he smoked some weed. Seriously? I mean, come on, man. You guys, the NFL, that's another thing that kind of annoys me. The NFL basically kicked him out of the league and wouldn't let him play and put him on the exempt list. He was banned from the league. But Antonio Brown has been able to get away with this time and time again. So, Josh, I give it to him right now because he's doing a phenomenal job of keeping himself where he needs to be. And I think the team's helping him a lot, but giving him a chance and everybody's working with him. We got a great team for that. We really do. All of our guys are so in tune with each other and they all like each other so much. They want to help each other. They're that's just who they are. I love that part of it, but I don't know, man. It's been a crazy day in the NFL.
It has been. It's probably gonna get even crazier when we do our show next week.
Yeah. So. Was it the Raiders that were eliminated today?
No. Actually, I think it might be the Broncos.
There was a list.
Whoever wins the Raiders and Chargers game, so from what I saw recently, I think whoever wins the Raiders Chargers game is gonna make the playoffs. And in the Colts, if they win next week, they are in. So we could be playing possibly the Colts that first game. So there's many different things, but we will not know officially until next Sunday night.
Well, no, there were some teams eliminated today. James Palmer put it out.
I know what you're talking about. I'm looking at the tweet, right?
Yeah, there was
okay, Broncos were eliminated with a loss of the Chargers. Browns were eliminated with a Chargers win and versus Broncos. Dolphins were eliminated with a loss at Titans and Chargers win versus Broncos. The Broncos, the Browns, and the Dolphins have been eliminated. So that still allows for the Chargers, Raiders, and Colts to still make the playoffs.
Yeah. So it was the Broncos. Then it was. I knew one of them had been eliminated from our division, but I didn't know which one it was. I couldn't remember. I'm kind of it's a little annoying right here. And I hate to keep beating a dead horse, but somebody said the reffing was atrocious, but the loss was due to 0 defensive adjustments, chase single coverage on 3rd and 27. And then a check mark replied back, the refs reduced the margin for error. The fact that they stopped running the ball cost them mid-4th. The 3rd and 5 blitz got them. And the 3rd and 27 basically kept the ball out of Mahomes' hands. That's really not true. I'm not going to go with that story. I mean, people can say what they want. That's not something that
everyone has a different opinion when you look at it at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's one of many others that don't even Rob Collins put out today. He basically repeated what Burrow said. He put the clip up of him saying, we got lucky. We had some calls go our way in the 4th quarter. Well, don't forget about the one in the 1st quarter, the ones in the end of the 2nd quarter, and the rest in the 3rd quarter too, because you had them in every quarter. So they went your way a lot today. But that's one person's opinion versus pretty much everybody else's. Did we see a lot. What do you think, man? I mean, what's your opinion? What did you see? What did you take out of this game that was positive besides,
The offensive line is in pretty good shape. We each drafted well from that standpoint and brought in the right players. Now we need to keep an extra guy available because you don't know what's going to happen. I like the defense did not give up. Excuse me. I like to see what Pringle did, especially Hardman on that deep pass.
Yeah.
Darrell Williams, Derek Gore, RB1, RB2, they need to be taking the full hand. I think they need to let, like you said, Darrell Williams start. And then last but not least, I am happy we get to see the issues now instead of seeing them in the playoffs. I said this before. Let's get this out now during the regular season. Hopefully this is a loss to get out of their system so they can go through. But we never know, man. But I think to see this happen now, I feel like Andy and them will know how to adjust moving forward.
Yeah. Again, I mean, you can adjust with your team. You just can't adjust. You can control what you can control, but you can't control the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
So Andy can adjust so much, but then it ends at that point. And then it's in somebody, when you're leaving the game in the hands of somebody else, you never know what's going to end up happening. And we saw that today.
You can't give the game in the hands of officials, but at that point, it's kind of like there's some things you just can't do. So
no,
I don't know.
So, I don't know. I don't know what else we can take from this game. I mean, Mahomes had
just move on. That's all we can really do.
And, he's shown a lot of patience. Mahomes has shown a ton of patience when it comes to how he played 2 years ago, even how he played last year versus this year. He's shown a lot of patience and going underneath with the ball instead of, going for the deep pass all the time, which is kind of hurting to some degree. It's hurting, some stats with other players, but I think that's going to work itself out moving forward, especially into next year. I think we're going to see that he'll be back to his old form again. And the wide receivers will be doing what they normally do. We did learn a few things about the defense today, and most of them were, in fact, if not all of them, are positive, except for a couple bad calls, really, I guess, or bad packages, if you want to call it that, and maybe having one wrong guy on the field. And I've yet to hear that he was. If I asked if Thornhill was injured, and the first person said no. That's all I got was no.
I don't think he's injured, but they would have said something, and we would have saw it on Twitter. They would have said maybe it was a discipline thing, but I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know what they'd be disciplining him for, because
at this point,
who knows? But by the way, did anybody see what Breezy did on Instagram?
No, I did not.
It was hilarious, man. He did a TikTok looking thing with that song, Next Person That Walks Out of My Life. He did a little TikTok video of it, and he was actually singing it. I almost cried. It was so funny.
Oh, you did?
I miss that dude. I really do, man. I miss the guy. I think he
might have gotten the rest face today if he was on our team.
Oh, I think he would have. I'm surprised Snead was as calm as he was. Fenton. I don't know, man. What'd you think of them calls, dude, on him?
Man, I don't. At this point,
what do you think? I like the way he. I guess one thing I do like is the fact
I would say they maintain professionalism when they could have went crazy.
Yeah,
they could have done the Marcus Peters, throw the flag in the stands. Maybe they could have thrown the flag at a ref, but they maintain composure. I mean, we seen not in the NFL, but we seen another sports league where teams fight the refs. Yeah. Luckily, that didn't happen. So they maintain composure, and I think that was a good thing to see.
Yeah,
because a lot of people, these wrestlers seem pretty bold nowadays. They think they run things when they don't. So just got to continue to battle through, man.
Yep. Well, did we get any questions? Because I know
we did.
I had a couple.
I pulled them right here for you.
All right.
The first one, well, it's not really a question, but it's from Joe, longtime listener. Thanks, Joe. No question, just a comment. The sun will come out tomorrow, and I am not scared of any ASF team, home or away. Keep up the good work, fellas, and have a good week. Thank you, Joe. We appreciate it.
You're the man. You're the man. You're always positive. That's the one thing. Joe's an awesome dude.
Yeah.
he's been a long time listener and follower of both of us, and he's just a good dude all the way around.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
He is a
he's
really good
right.
guy.
He is, and
Mm-hmm.
he's right. I mean, no matter how you look at it, I'm really not scared of anybody else. The only people I'm scared of is the refs. I'm not scared of any other team. I
Mm-hmm.
really am. I'm not. I'm not scared of. There's not a team in this league I think that can actually beat us if they played us heads up. I don't think there's a team out there that can beat us, but
Mm-hmm.
our defense is too good. Our offense
No,
is
I hear you.
um we're just
It'll work
we're
out, man. We just
it
gotta
will.
keep positivity pushing through. I expect after we talk, we're probably gonna hear from what you've been telling me. There could be a different tone cooling in this week for locker
Yeah.
room.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so too.
The next question from Nicholas Turner. Why do officials call penalties on one team only when both teams are doing the same thing every play? What is their motivation for one side officiating? Uh Nicholas, we covered this earlier, but basically it's NFL. You're not gonna get consistent officiating. Some people like to say it's WWE in a sense, like they pick the same people to win every year. I don't really believe that 100%, but I wouldn't be surprised if certain things were happening. I mean, betting's a big thing now, and NFL makes a lot of money. But that's kind of how I see with that. But what I would just say is it will have to work out eventually for us soon. So just
Yeah.
keep your head up. It'll all work out. It will all work out for us.
Always remember that ratings trump everything. And if it looks like it's going to be a one-sided game
Mm-hmm.
that they have hyped up all week long as going
Yep,
to be the game of the century and all this shit, um, things can change in an instant, and it
that
just
is
takes
true.
a phone call. So, um, and do, I actually believe that's what went on, but because it was just too obvious today. It'd have been absolutely different if it wasn't so obvious, but it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to keep your head up and know that most of those guys were. Now that I know that half of them were interns, just stepping in, or a couple of them anyway. Maybe that will, I guess, alleviate some of the pain from it. But
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be anywhere near a football field, at least NFL. But it is what it is.
yeah.
We just have to move on, and again, this is a resilient football team that these guys play for each other. So I don't give us a heads up game. There's nobody out there that can beat us.
That's
That's
true, man. I think we got a good shot. The
Yep.
next question is from Cocky Girl 44. Why the F wasn't Chase double covered today? And you should have just let them score. Yeah, I mean that's a Spags question. I think your ad is that Shelly. Yeah, that's a Spags question for you.
Yeah.
I'm not for sure. Will he talk about it? Probably not. I mean, probably. Hopefully, he realizes this is now and does something different moving towards the future. But I mean, there's really nothing we can do at this point, unfortunately. So all we can continue to do is just hope that they figure it out. I'm a firm believer. Let's have this happen now instead of in the playoffs, where the football season ends and we're just sitting there frustrated. So I think that they will figure it out, and I hopefully expect them to make a change soon
Yeah.
or
I
do
mean,
something different to help us going to change in the future.
I think that I think he's right. I mean, I think that uh, what what went on today was a couple of issues. One of them, you're right, he should have been double covered. But again, if you put somebody else out there on him when you see what's going on, that just gives you a double margin of error when it comes to flags being thrown, and that could have been part of the reason why they didn't have some help with him. I'm not really sure. I didn't. They could have they could have ran like a four safety set, a 3-4 safety set, but they didn't. I don't know why. They just had him. He was. Ward was out there by himself the the entire time. He didn't get any
That's
help.
true.
So I got to
You
give it
gotta
to
give
him
someone
though.
over the top. First they tried Fenton, didn't work. They put Ward. I don't know if they put Snead on him. I think Snead was covering someone else,
He
but
was.
maybe Baker, maybe Mike Hughes. You never know. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. We got to keep moving forward.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
It's an eye opener for them, especially for the defensive coordinator. because now he knows what he can and can't do, what
That's
he can
true.
and can't get away with. And maybe that was part of his, his mindset today. Let's see what we can get away with. Let's see
I'm a
what
firm believer in when you go all the way to win, but
yeah.
everyone's got different philosophies. The
Yep.
next question is from Caroline. Why did we not let the Bengals get a TD with 3 minutes left? I think Andy was, I don't know. I just think that the offensive and defensive coaching staff had more faith in the defense at the time. They had an opportunity to get the ball, but what we ended up seeing was that 3rd and 27 kind of changed that with basically just, there's Chase down there. Let's just throw it to him.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of what happened with that one, unfortunately.
Yeah. It on the goal line stance, as if that's what you're referring to.
Well, they're just, I think they're talking about a couple plays beforehand.
Oh, well, it is what it is. I mean, you don't ever want to let anybody score if you can avoid it. But again, if you got a lot of faith in your defense because they've been playing so well, you have to weigh it. I guess they were weighing their options between, do we put the faith in the defense, keep them out there even though they're getting penalized for nothing, or do we put our offense out there and then them get penalized for nothing, or something else happen, or somebody get, it's just, you got to weigh your options sometimes, and it may not go in your favor. Today it didn't. It wasn't going to go in our favor. So regardless of that, you had maybe a couple of mistakes that could have changed a couple of things to a degree, but I don't know that it would have made a huge difference in the long run. I don't know that. I can't say for sure.
Yep, I agree with you.
You never know what the next call would have been. You never know what.
And it's one of those it's a crazy effect. One play can change this, can change that, could change another game. I mean,
exactly.
It's a large
domino effect
thing.
So you just don't know. But good question. I mean, maybe Spags will address it. I'm sure somebody's going to ask. I'm going to ask somebody I know to ask. When he does his presser. So
that is true, man. I mean, we'll see. Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
Let's hope he answers it.
Oh, hey, I think we all like an answer from that standpoint.
Yep.
The next question is from Fortnite League Z34. Offensive line Lucas Niang is out with a knee injury. Can you tell me more details on why he's out with a knee injury? I'm pretty sure he tore his patella. Yeah. So I think he's out for the season.
He is. He's gone for the year. It's torn. So
unfortunately, yeah. I'm pretty sure he's out for the season.
Yeah, he won't be back. That's when you tear that. I mean, you can't get out there and play in any kind of capacity, and he's going to have surgery to get it fixed more than likely.
Yeah, I think my dad had that injury. You can walk, but it's not fun. It is not fun.
No, there's a lot of pain involved. So,
yep.
Yeah. So there's your answer on that one. Sorry it happened, but it did. And
well, at least we'll have him back next year. So yeah, we'll have him
that's
back the one thing.
We'll have a lot of guys back next year, I think, because they proved a lot towards the end of the season.
For sure.
So, and the season's not over. I mean,
no,
we got a second.
Still got this game. Up. Win or lose, we still got the playoffs. So I mean, the Chiefs got this. So.
Still got the second season. So
that's true.
Just we just gotta stay positive. Keep our guys, keep pumping positive thoughts into their brain, because they didn't do anything wrong today. I mean, they did their jobs. They did. Every one of them did their job. So, with the exception of a mistake on Spags' part by putting Sorensen out there when he did, that was really the only mistake that was made, because all the players did their job on both sides of the ball. So,
yeah, no, I hear you,
man.
Take
anything away from them, because they did their job all the way around. 31 points is no joke.
No joke. You have to score in the second. You have to score more than.
Yeah, and no sacks on Mahomes. I mean,
yeah, that's a positive.
It's a huge thing. I mean, no interceptions, no sacks, and 31 points. You can't really ask for a whole lot more. I don't know where. I mean, there's really not much more you can say about it. So.
No, I hear you, man. The next question from Scott Mallon. Excuse me. Has tackling regressed and defense reactions to the ball carrier as well? I just think the Chiefs got caught on a bad day. Yeah. I really do. Yeah. They have been really consistent for 7 weeks. I don't expect this team to take any step backwards. I expect them to take steps forwards and continue to. And I wouldn't be surprised if tackling is something they work on, they look at when they go back to the film, because there was multiple instances where the game could be different, or if key tackles were made. So
Yeah.
that's all I'm
Yeah.
gonna say from that.
Yeah. There was about 5 series that went, or 5 plays, I should say, that went on where there was some missed tackles that could have been, you know, could have been tightened up a lot, but they'll fix it. They're great about fixing things quickly and bringing it back out. They've done it. So they've proven that this year with all the adversity they've gone through.
Yep,
Look where
that
they're
is
at.
true.
I mean, you can't, the guys that were counting us out and we wouldn't make the playoffs. We're number 2 seed right now. Could be the number 1 after next week.
And if not, you get an extra week of football.
Yeah, that's really about what you get. So we're okay. I mean, I'm not concerned. We don't have that ref crew again, and we're in good shape. So
we pray and hope.
Yep.
The next question is from Dylan Duffy. It's not really a question, but it's kind of like a timeline of what he thought. Deserves most blame: number 1, officials. Number 2, Spags not making adjustments in coverage at any time. Number 3, not allowing the touchdown after the first turnover. No, timeout to give the offense and Patrick Mahomes the ball back with time and timeouts. Number 4, and last one, number 49 continues being the game in high-level situations. Yeah, man, we pretty much covered everything. Dylan, we appreciate you reaching out and saying that. I agree with you. I think it kind of goes in that order. I would personally, in my opinion, put Spags over the officials, and I would put probably Sorensen up another notch and maybe move not allowing them to make the stop in order for Mahomes to get the ball, because the way the game was moving, it would have been nice, but it's just one of those things. But one thing I'll take away in your list out of the 4 is Spags. You got to make adjustments.
Yeah.
Prime example, I've seen this become a reality. Chiefs were playing against the Ravens the first time Mahomes played against Lamar Jackson, the 4-9 game. There was a time when the defense was getting destroyed, and no questions, they were the 31st ranked defense, but Sutton changed their scheme at the front of the line and they were doing good. Then he changed it. So that proved to me, if a defensive coordinator can make adjustments during the game, it can bode well for your team. But we see a lot of coordinators get all swollen the head acting like their way is the best way. And we've seen that is not always the case. So unfortunately, that's what we saw, but I do expect Spags to do something. If not Spags, I expect the defense to figure it out on their own as well. They got a lot of dominant players, and I really believe that they will figure something out at the end of the day.
I think so too. I mean, it's going to be just one of those things that you can't, I kind of, I don't know if I put anything above the officials today, but because that was just so utterly blatant. But as far as, I think making adjustments would have been number 2 on my list, because he should have gave Ward some help. I mean,
you got to, man. I mean, you're going against a monster. I mean, that guy is good.
Yeah, he's good.
You got to do something, and it's just like time after time after time.
Yeah,
he
those
just
2
didn't
guys have played together for a long time. This is not their first. These guys have a connection going to college, and that was a very smart on the Bengals move to bring in, a top quarterback and then their top receiver that they played against, with each other, and that's a good thing. I mean, you want that continuity. That was smart on their part. Not smart on our part not to double cover him. He should have been double covered. I don't know why that didn't happen, and it could have just been the fact that maybe Spags thought it was just going to be another detriment with the flags. I don't know. I can't answer that. Only he can answer that. And I'm sure he's going to get questioned. Believe me. Wait until the presser comes out, because he will get questioned about that.
And he's a coach. He deserves so.
Yeah. So
can't dodge him.
Andy called a great game today. I mean, as far as the offense was concerned, I think he called a good game. In the second half, could he have been made some adjustments as far as maybe running the ball a little bit more? Probably, because Darryl was on a roll like none other. He should have just kept Darryl pushing the ball down the field, and it would have kept our offense on the field a lot more. But for some reason, Andy's an air guy. He always has been. So
there's nothing wrong with that. If some things can change, but
when you're in a situation like that and you can see it coming, I probably would have just said, you know what, hey Darryl, you're almost averaging 7 yards a carry. Go ahead and just stay there. Just go ahead and continue what you're doing, because our offensive line was making holes for him like none other. So and he was pushing people. He carried some guys 3 or 4 yards. So he made sure he got those key first downs.
That's true. That is
But
true. No, you're good, man.
yep.
The next question is from Mike to start. Losing one seed stinks, but why do I feel Ali better about the Chiefs Super Bowl chances tonight after losing? Everything went the Bengals' way in the second half, and the Chiefs still could have won. I think the Chiefs beat them, and I think the Chiefs beat them at Arrowhead. I agree with you, Mike. I think the Chiefs could run it back and beat the Bengals. Granted, if certain things changes, referee crews,
Yeah.
scheme changes, but I think what it comes down to in the end of the day is that you just gotta hope and pray that the adjustments are made, the team comes together and continues to work because they want to win. I mean, they really want to win, and I believe that. And I think we've seen a little of growth with this team because usually you would think you see attacking the rest from social media, but we didn't see that. So I think they're going to let their play come together at the end of the day. I really do.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean,
They're going to let their play show them what they believe.
it's just going to have to be changes in the offense, or as far as I'm sorry, they're going to have to make adjustments no matter what. But this is not a team that's just going to lay down. I mean, they're just not. They're too tough. These guys, was there mistakes? Hell yeah. I mean, who doesn't make mistakes? It is what it is. But regardless, it's one of those things that when you get into the playoffs, everything changes from usually, I'll say this, let me put it this way, usually things change when it comes to the referee crews and how calls are, plays are called, how many flags are thrown. There was a couple of times today that Cincinnati taunted the Chiefs and didn't get called. But I think if that would have been the other way around, we would have got called. So I think when it comes down to the playoffs, I kind of agree with you. After I got over the irritation, frustration, wanting to break everything in my house, and kick my dog, and I love my dog.
Oh, come on, man.
I love my dog, but I wanted, it was just one of those things. I see it, and I can see what you're saying. It's one of those things where they're going to learn from this, and they're pissed, and you piss off the bear, you're going to get bit, and you pissed him off. So now everybody else has got to deal with the repercussions of what just went on today. I'll just put it that way, and that's going to be the Chiefs kicking the shit out of everybody going forward. Mm. That's just my opinion. I feel I agree with him. Good question or good.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah. The next two questions are basically the same. They're from Barry Gregory and Chiefs Hawk Sporting Royal, and they're basically trying to understand why did not saw Bob Sutton make adjustments. Jamar Chase went over 266 yards. This is very Bob Sutton-esque. So, JP, did this make you feel like it was Bob Sutton-esque?
No. Okay. What I felt like is that I felt like in a normal game with normal calls, that adjustment would have been made. I still feel like Spags probably had it in his head that if you bring another guy over, you're just putting yourself in another area to get another flag thrown. And we've seen what went on with a couple of key players that didn't do anything wrong and had flags called on them. So why bring it? And they were all, it seemed like it was mainly on Chase's side. So every flag seemed like it was, or non-flag went his direction. So you bring another guy over and then you're going to end up, you just don't know what's going to happen the way that game was called. So I maybe that was his mindset. I really don't know. Well, I'm hoping Spags will put some insight. I'm sure he's going to have to, because he's going to be berated with that question. I mean, there's no doubt when he does his presser on Friday or Thursday. And I think it's going to be a lot of why didn't you and why didn't you and why didn't you, and he's going to have to answer it. So we'll see what we'll see what he's got to say. He's not shy. He'll tell you if he made a mistake, and he'll tell you why he did something and why he did what he did. So
yeah, 100%, man.
Yep. So
well, that's all the questions, man. I think we're covered everything, unless you have one other thing you want to bring up.
I could think of, man. I mean, just I know everybody's frustrated. I was extremely pissed, but you just got to move forward and just stay positive and know that, and you can't bring it down on the players. The guys that said Ward played like trash today, he did not.
Yeah, for the best of in the situation he was in.
Yeah, he did phenomenal with the situation he was in, to be honest with you. I mean, you got a guy alone out there against if not one of the top, if the top wide receiver in the league right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then again, he was playing not only that wide receiver, he was playing the refs. So he's not trash. He's done a phenomenal job all season long.
Yeah.
And please stop saying stuff like that because it's not true. And all it does is get into his head or it could. Um, these guys have done everything they could possibly do to prove who they are. So let them keep their identity and don't sit there and call him names and, don't go on his page and call him trash. Don't do this, don't do that, because he was out there on an island by himself.
Mm-hmm.
So remember that and see if you can go out there and do it against that guy, because I don't know many CBs in the league that could have even stood with that man. I mean, honestly, he's freaking good. He's like Tyreek-esque. I mean, from to me, that kid's he's got a bright future ahead of him in this league. I'll just put it that way. So give Ward a break. I'll ask you to do that, please, because he didn't do anything wrong today. It wasn't his fault. He didn't have help. So, and anybody else would have given him help out there, especially seeing what was going on. But again, we don't know why Spags didn't do that, and it could have been maybe he was scared of the double indemnity, I guess, if you want to call it. You never know what's going to happen if you got two guys covering somebody that they wanted to show out. I mean, it just is what it is. So hopefully, I'm sure they're going to make their adjustments. They figured out what they did wrong, and they'll move forward with it. I'm sure if Andy could take that back, he probably would have let him score and let Mahomes do his thing. I'm sure Mahomes.
I think they were trying to. Those penalties were kind of like, well, there goes that in a way too. So
yeah. So I mean, it just kind of, nothing went their way in the second half. Nothing. It could have, but it didn't. And Mahomes didn't have any time on the field. None. The offense had no. I think it was 89% of the time the Bengals were on the field in the second half, if I'm not mistaken. I have to go back and look, but they what did they have, like three? Did they only have like three series, right?
Yeah, 3 series where they scored touchdowns.
No, I'm talking about the Chiefs. How many series did they actually have in the fourth quarter?
I think they had one or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're talking about that's a lot of time to not be able to go out there and do your thing. So that's really kind of where it lies. It's just it's a sucky situation. There's not much we can do about it. We just got to move forward and keep pushing. And that's what we're going to do.
That's true.
So I didn't want to make this all about the refs, this thing, but a lot of it was about the refs. There's a lot of bad calls,
but there's a lot of positives from this.
Yeah, there's a ton of positives that came out of this game. I mean,
it sucked, but
it sucks that we lost barely, but it is what it is. I mean, you can't really change it. And honestly, I think and there was something that you wanted. I don't know if it was the last person asked or said that at Arrowhead we could have beat them. We could have beat them there. If that would have been a different ref crew, we could have beat them there.
And I'm convinced all that we lost 5 games this year. Those 5 games we lost, if we were to run it back, we would beat those teams. That's just my opinion. We would run it back and beat those teams. But that's neither here or there. We're in a new week. We face those teams, great. But we need to focus on the Chiefs need to figure out what they need to do now moving forward.
Yeah, and they will. Got a very smart group out there and a very good coaching staff for 99% of the time. So I'm not worried. I'm more concerned with who's going to be calling the games than I am our team. It's just that simple. And that solidified it today for me. So we'll just have to move forward and hopefully they'll, what I see is the Mahomes of old. And I see some rising stars on our football team that are making tremendous strides. And I see the defense that really, other than today, because of what went on, they have played lights out. I mean, they were top 10. Now they're probably back to 12 or something, but still, I mean, going from 31st, 32nd in the league to 6th in at one point in points allowed and top 10 overall, I'm not complaining. So top 12 overall, whatever you want to call it. I'm still not going to complain because that's a big jump in one season. That doesn't happen. Very rarely does that happen. So That's only a Spags defense. It's going to jump in a 7-week span and jump to, that position that quickly. I don't know of any other defensive coordinator that can do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sure.
anyway, with that being said, man, you got anything else?
Nah, man, I think we're good to go.
All right. Well, everybody follow the show, follow the website. The show's Chiefs Focus First and 10. Find us anywhere. We are now on Audacity as well. We're everywhere. You can go to our website, sign up, subscribe. It's free. www.chiefsfocus.com. Check out all the stuff that we put out. You get early access to it before anybody else does. You'll get it in your inbox before anybody else gets it. So be ready and enjoy the next week and enjoy the playoffs, because it's going to be a fun ride no matter how you look at it. It's going to be fun. Win or lose, we're going to be fighting all the way to the end. So, and I can see us, honestly, I feel pretty good about us, man. I can see us getting to the Super Bowl. I'm looking in the AFC right now, and unless something ungodly happens, I can see us still making the Super Bowl. So this game really it wasn't a precursor to anything that we did wrong. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
then a couple of bad, packages. It's really about it, and not putting, a little bit of help out there. But that adjustment's being made, so I guarantee you that's going to be made tomorrow. So
for sure,
we'll go from there. And I guarantee you, Andy and Spags right now are cussing and about what went on today. And Andy, he wasn't very nice to those refs. I saw Spags at one point. He just kind of laughed because he was like, "What the hell? What am I supposed to do here?" He just shook his head and laughed. It was like, what am I supposed to do? And he's right. I mean, what was he supposed to do? Other than maybe give help to Ward, there's not much more he could do. He can't control what they're doing out there. So you can only control what you can control. And that is
true.
So, but with that being said, I hope you guys have a great week, and we will talk to you on Thursday. May have a spaces between now and then if we get some time, but and some developments that come along that maybe we find out that early hand and we can put it out there, we will. That being said, enjoy your week, and we will talk to you guys on Thursday.
Yep. And thank you guys for listening. Don't forget, code word lightning. The giveaway is on our pinned tweet on our page, Chiefs Focus. Make sure to go there and enter the giveaway. Follow all the steps. Just letting you guys know it's going to be till the 10th. So you guys have another week to enter the giveaway. We appreciate you guys entering it. Thank you. But just letting you guys know the opportunity is still there for all you guys. Thank you.
All right, guys. Appreciate it. Peace out.
See you next time, Chiefs Kingdom.